Entrepreneurship is hard. You are going to have to eat dog food for a while before you get any type of reward or results. People really need to understand the basic fundamentals of entrepreneurship. This check is not coming every week. You have to embrace the risk. You have to understand that failure is a possibility. Ideas are cheap. Everybody has ideas. Execution is what separates the winners from the losers. Attention is currency. And if people don't know you, they can't pay you. Whoever you were before you watched this episode, you are no longer them. You are who you are going to be. Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, man. I am here all alone by myself. Well, I'm not by myself because you're here. And I was thinking to myself, man, people really need to understand the basic fundamentals of entrepreneurship, because even if you've been doing entrepreneurship for a long time, we just do it wrong. And I am not the guru. I've been able to accomplish some things. I understand some things about the space. However, I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I'm always building. I'm always observing. I'm always studying, because the landscape continues to change of how people make money. I mean, 20 years ago, people didn't make money off of creating content and just the content alone, right? But now we have social media where the idea is I'm going to create a certain amount of content and I'm going to live my life that way. I'm going to make money by being a content creator. That wasn't an industry before, but the landscape keeps changing. However, the fundamentals and the foundation has not changed in 1,000 years. Business is business. Entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship. So if you are an entrepreneur, maybe you've been struggling in your journey for a while, I really want you to pay close attention, okay? And then you could probably be a part of the morning meetup, which is only $19, and you can talk to me on a regular basis. I talk to my community every single week, twice a week, and then the community gather. This is not a commercial for that. However, it would be a good idea. I'm sure there's a link somewhere. Now, before we get into it, I have to ask you a question. Do you really, really want to be an entrepreneur? You're working your job and you have a dream, and because you don't like your job, you say, I'm going to become a full-time entrepreneur. I'm going to just do my own thing. But the question is, do you really, really want to? 20% of U.S. businesses fail in the first year. Think about this for a second. You have a 20% chance of failure when you start. You start and you say, I'm gonna quit my job because I'm going full time. Well, we're gonna see. Now, the 20% of new businesses failing in the first year are actually including people who have been entrepreneurs for very long times. I've had businesses that I started that failed the first year as a seasoned entrepreneur. So if you haven't done business in a while or ever, I mean, what would be your percentage? By the end of year 5, 50% of businesses are going out of business. Half the businesses that get started do not survive 5 years. I mean, this is a real conversation. Listen, 65% done in 10 years. Now, I'm saying 65% of businesses fail within 10 years, but this also includes businesses that have been failing for a long time. This is just when they shut their doors. We're not saying that all the other 35% are actually thriving. No. That means they haven't gone out of business yet. That means maybe they're breaking even for another 10 years. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's hard. So I need you to ask yourself, do I really want to be an entrepreneur, and why? Do you want to be an entrepreneur because you hate your job? It's a horrible reason to be an entrepreneur. I'm still trying to figure out to this day if entrepreneurs were born or built. Can an entrepreneur be created if you just don't have the stuff in you to be an entrepreneur? Can it be developed? I think so. But some people just have it. It doesn't take a whole lot of convincing to do what you need to do, but some of us need so much inspiration. We need so much motivation. We need so much like someone to drag us because you are just in your feelings on a regular basis and you may not have the chops for it. But I'm going to tell you all the things you need. This is not one of those things where I have to sell you something at the end, so I don't care about your feelings right now. I'm going to give you the real. There's 10 things we have to consider. If your business isn't doing well, it's probably because a lot of the things on this list are missing. However, we can now start to check them off. All right, well, let's get into it. The first thing we have to check, and I know it's going to sound so redundant, and I know it's going to be like, oh my gosh, here we go again, but this is the whole game, actually. This is why it's number one. It is your mindset. The way your brain processes information, the way you look at the world. I need you to change how you see this thing, okay? For one, there's a clear difference between an entrepreneur and an employee. An employee says, I will trade my time for the money. And it's real simple, very easy. Let's say you get paid by the hour. I do this for an hour, I make this amount of money. Simple, it's easy. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. I do the thing, I get paid. I do the thing, I get paid. Entrepreneurship is different. You can do everything right, and for some reason, the laws of the universe will not give you any input for all this output. You may have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again to get the first inkling of success. I'm trying to prepare you. Because there's so many people, oh my gosh, they say, oh, I've been doing the work and I'm not getting the result. Well, welcome to entrepreneurship. Sometimes you can do the work, then get a reward. And then do the work, get another reward. And then you could do barely any work and get an abundance of reward because the season has changed. I need you to understand you are gonna have to eat dog food for a while before you get any type of reward or results. I need you to check your mindset. If you can't bear the thought of you not paying your rent, or you can't even, you got to look at it like this. When I was working at the Cheesecake Factory, I remember it was like the 20th of the month. I had about $750. My rent at the time was around that. And I said, I can either save my money to pay my rent and try to work some extra shifts to get the money for my apparel, or I will make a bet. I'm going to take this $750 and print up some t-shirts, and the clock is running now. The clock is running. I have to get this $750 back in 10 days. Well, actually, I dropped the shirts off on the 20th. They got them back to me on the 23rd. I had 7 days to get them sold. But my mindset says I'm going to show some other people the designs and I'm going to collect the money now so I keep the full 10 days. I'm willing to take that risk. Somebody put it in the chat. Are you willing to make the risk? It's a one big ball of risk in entrepreneurship. And I'm trying to scare you to death, so hopefully you'll quit and you won't even be an entrepreneur. But if you can survive this conversation, you can say, okay, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. All right, bet, I'm ready to go. That means you are ready to go. This check is not coming every week. You have to embrace the risk. You have to understand that failure is a possibility. I don't want you to take the action of failing because you can't fail until you stop. But you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. So that's why I have no sympathy for the people. It's like, yo, I've been trying, and I'm not getting anything. How long have you been doing it? Oh, it's been like the last 3 weeks I've been going hard. 3 weeks. Did you know that 40% of businesses stop simply based off of fear? And fear isn't even real. Fear isn't even something that's happened yet. Fear is like you're anticipating something happening that's gonna be unfavorable. That's why you fear it. It hasn't even happened yet. So faith and fear have the same exact definition. It's the anticipation of something happening. You either fear that the thing that's going to happen in the end is going to harm you, or you have the faith that the thing that's going to happen is going to work out in your favor. Same definition. It depends on how you look at it. Here's how else I want you to look at this failure thing. Failure is not a bad thing necessarily. Failure is actually a necessity. Failure is a prerequisite to success. I've failed more times than most of the people that I know. But I've succeeded at a higher level than most of the people that I know. But it's only because I've been willing to go through more failures than anybody else. I am willing to fail. I am willing to fall flat on my face so I learn what it feels like to fall on your face. And then I get to learn how to not fall anymore. Man, I fell. I need to tie my shoes. I need to wear more comfortable shoes. I need to look down as I'm walking. I don't need to be looking in the air. Like, you get to learn some stuff about life and how the things work. So all of the things that you've experienced, if you've started a business, it stopped, or it hurt and you've been depressed because this idea that you had in your mind was going to change the world and it didn't, I'm telling you, you're not going through anything that anybody else hasn't gone through. You need to check your mindset. You need to see yourself as who you're going to be, not seeing yourself as who you are. This is all mindset shaping stuff. I saw myself as a server, a worker at the Cheesecake Factory that was going to have a side hustle. That's how I saw myself. So for years, I'm side hustling while working all these low paying jobs. That's how I see myself. I work a job and I got to hustle. I always got to hustle. I never even see myself as a businessman, as a CEO. I never see myself as somebody who could make $100,000 in a year. But once I started envisioning what my life is going to look like when I finally get to that thing, that's when I started walking out. So while I'm working at the Cheesecake Factory, I saw this vision for myself of who I was going to be and how successful I was going to be. So I started walking into work with a different posture. I was looking at myself as someone that works at a Cheesecake Factory and a hustler. But once it clicked and said, yo, I'm gonna be a multi-millionaire, I started buying new ties to wear at work. I started asking, like, you had to buy an apron, and what we would do, we would just run the apron until they say, yo, you need a new apron, or you need to use bleach with that thing. And I just come into work because it was a job, but then I started working on my presentation because I saw myself as a multi-millionaire, so I started washing my apron a little more often. I started ironing my shirt. I started ironing my pants. It was at a point I didn't care what kind of shoes I wore because I was working at a restaurant. They're gonna get dirty anyway. But once I saw myself as a multi-millionaire, I started cleaning my shoes because I was just in this situation. That's not who I was. Once I saw it, those were the steps out. And most of us don't see it. And sometimes you have to lie to yourself. And I had to lie to myself and say that the reason I didn't do well in school is because I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't do well in school because the things that they were trying to teach me, they were trying to teach me how to be an employee. I said, oh, the reason I didn't do well in school and traditional education is because I have an entrepreneurship mindset. That's why. When I started really thinking about this thing, I said, oh, all the things I went through in the past those were lessons. They taught me some stuff. This is me changing my mindset. I had to become something else. You get to make a decision every single day. Are you gonna scroll through Instagram? Are you gonna listen to that new album that dropped? Or are you gonna listen to an ebook in your car? You get these micro decisions every day. So, I'm asking you to change your mindset. Whoever you were before you watched this episode, you are no longer them. You are who you are going to be. And I need you to see that and start doing the things that future person would do today. Would that future person go out to the club and spend 30% of the money in their bank account on drinks with friends that aren't going anywhere? I don't think that person that you're going to be would do that. Bro, I got $1,000. I'm lining up at a sneaker store to spend 25% of the money in my bank account on sneakers. Would a wealthy person spend 25% of all they have, all of their wealth, on sneakers? I don't think so. So that's when things changed for me, because I had to see myself as who I was going to be. Y'all ready to move on? Number 2, entrepreneurship is not about selling products, but about solving problems. Most entrepreneurs look at business as, oh, I came up with this cool product and I'm gonna sell this cool product. But we don't look at it as, okay, there's a problem that needs to be solved and I'm creating this product to solve that problem. It is a mindset shift. Because if we have a cool product and nobody buys it, we can't understand why nobody's buying it. Well, the answer is there's not a need. Entrepreneurs just be selling stuff. And we're not solving a problem. We're not looking at the thing that we're going to sell as a big problem. So I'm talking to this young lady in the morning meetup, and she is a housekeeper. And she doesn't see it as a need. She's like, well, you're talking about every product or service needs to be a need. I really just have a want, because you can live without having your house clean. And I said, well, you're never gonna make any money. As an entrepreneur that's married, that's unorganized, who has 3 kids and is busy, I look at our housekeeper as someone who saves our marriage. I mean, and my wife is frustrated because she actually has to run around these kids, and kids make a mess of the house all day long. If I don't have a housekeeper, like, she has to manage all of this stress and everything starts to pile up in our house. And when I get to the house, I can't help. I'm not really good at organizing. There's bumping heads here. I know for a fact my office has to be cleaned, but I'm not an organized person. So if my office isn't clean, I can't think straight. And if I can't think straight, I can't go make $10 million. Meaning that housekeeper is a big reason why I can go perform the way I perform. If I can think straight, potential is unlimited. If I can't think straight, my potential is limited. So when you talk to me like, hey, do you want your house clean? Well, I don't think about it that way. But if you knew it was a need and you knew it was an essential for an entrepreneur, you'd come at me with a different approach. You would talk to me differently. You said, well, how much money did you make last year? Oh, okay, cool, you made $200,000. Wouldn't you like to make $500,000? Absolutely. Well, half of the time you're spending is because you're looking for stuff and you need someone to come structure and organize. This is me solving a problem, not selling a product or a service. Get your story together. All I'm asking you is to identify a story, and the story needs to include a pain point. What is the pain point? And you'll see in another note where I start talking about audiences, you need to know your audience's pain point. What hurts? And you can start recognizing an opportunity. Selling someone a tool. Bro, there was people in the gold rush that sold shovels. It's like, yo, okay, I don't need to go get the gold. I know that there's a problem. There are people that want this gold. I'm going to sell the shovels. So I teach at Podcast Summit every year, and I'm seeing an increasing number of people who are making money from podcasting without having a podcast, because they are the people who service the podcasters. Because they need someone to record, they need someone to take the pictures, they need somebody to manage the files, they need somebody to pull clips. There's a need in the marketplace. So I'm asking you to not look at the business as a product or service that I can sell to people, but what is the problem that I solve? So do me a favor, make a list of problems that you're seeing. If you're not an entrepreneur just yet, make a list of problems that you believe you could solve. If you are an entrepreneur and you have a product or service, and it sounds like I'm talking to you, I want you to get real clear on all the major problems that you solve and expand the problem. Make the problem bigger than the audience even recognizes. You're solving a problem, not selling a product. All right, number 3, and I just alluded to it. You need to know your audience. You need to define who your customer is. Because if we're starting with the I just sell a product, we think the product is amazing or the service is amazing, and we're going out to tell people about this amazing product or service. But if you are clear on the audience, you can actually reshape the product to fit the audience. For instance, so I'm on Instagram Live the other day, and this young lady comes on and says, I built out a nail salon, or I bought a nail salon from somebody. I said, cool. I said, whoo. When she said it, I was like, it doesn't seem like a good idea, if I'm being honest. But then I get a little deeper into the conversation. And I realized, one, she opened up a nail salon, and it's a Black woman. And for some reason, she tells me the address, and I'm looking at it on live, and I'm trying to see the neighborhood of where it's at. I'm just trying to, like, on Google Maps, you can see the actual salon. I see the salon, and then it's like a road next to the salon, and it's like a store down here, and I start looking around on Google Maps, and I see it's a residential neighborhood. Then I go down the street on Google Maps, and I see there's a gas station, one of those country gas stations too. And I said, yo, who's in this neighborhood? Like, what's the demographic? She said, oh, it's all white. A Black woman opens a nail salon in an all-white neighborhood, and the neighborhood didn't necessarily look like all these people have a high desire to get their nails done. I mean, I'm judging right now. I'm being very judgy and judgmental right now. And I'm not saying that white women don't get their nails done by Black people. And I'm not saying that Black people don't get their nails done by white people. I just don't see it a lot. So I asked her because I don't know the industry. And she said, yep, you are right. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, why did you open up this business here? You don't know who's here. You don't know the demographic. You don't know what they want. You ain't never, ever been white. Or I don't even know how much you've been around this audience of people, but you don't know their habits. And again, this isn't a race thing. It's an audience thing. This does not seem like the area that people have a high desire of getting their nails done. Now, if you go downtown Buckhead, Atlanta, goodness gracious, there are professionals who get their nails done because they are big on appearance. But this was it looked like one of the roads was like a dirt road. Oh, we are going to struggle here. But because we think of the good idea, business or service, as a good idea, we just open up, but we don't think about the need or the person that we're going to talk to. So I'm asking you to define your customer. I want you to write down, create an avatar. An avatar is somewhat of a model, a person who has a name, they have an age, they have, I want you to write down what's on their playlist, what do they listen to, what do they do for fun. I want you to know what they struggle with, why they struggle with it. Just create your avatar's name might be Mary. My avatar's name is Rico. When I did this years ago, Rico has a job and a dream, 32 years old. He has a job and a dream. He wants to build a business, doesn't know what business to build, but he also has these friends that do spades every night. And we just hang out and play spades and we drink beer, and nobody has any goals, ambitions, but Rico has been watching podcasts. He's reading books. He's listening to audiobooks. His mindset is changing. He doesn't know why he doesn't want to hang out with these clowns anymore, but he doesn't. He still doesn't know what he wants to do, but he doesn't understand entrepreneurship. So this is a person that I'm talking to. I understand what he's going through. At work, he's thinking about business all day and trying to figure out the ideas, and he's an entrepreneur, a hustler. Like, I've been talking to Rico forever. I'm still talking to Rico in this video as we speak. Get to know the people that you're talking to. And if you find someone that fits this demographic of the person that you're talking to, I want you to have a conversation and confirm your suspicions. Hey, what are you struggling with? Let's say, for instance, you want to help people in the podcasting industry. Well, you might be talking to Are you talking about people who are already having a super successful podcast? Or are you talking to the people who are just getting started? Or are you talking to the person who just has an idea? Or you have somebody that's stuck and they're plateaued and they're not growing and they're trying to figure out why? These are totally different audiences. And your branding and messaging will be totally different because I need you to understand who you are talking to. And once you get clear on that, you'll start attracting those people. Number 4, you have to be able to execute, okay? Ideas are cheap. Everybody has ideas. Execution is what separates the winners from the losers. Execution is what separates the multimillionaires from the brainstormers. It's implementation, and speed matters. I'm gonna challenge some of you all to launch something that's imperfect and start gathering some feedback. Iterate. Are you afraid to drop something that's not perfect? Well, most of us are. Most of us are just afraid to drop something that's not 100% right. But I'm telling you, execution matters. Some people don't stop because they feel more comfortable in the ideation phase. I'm just thinking about what I should do and brainstorming. I love talking to people. And we are going to have to execute. That's a big problem with many of us. We have too many ideas, not enough execution. You know what you need to do, but you're not executing. You just wrote a book and you're like, man, I need to go out in the streets and coach people from my book and go to chapter 3 and record the content. But for some reason, you have not got off the couch. You have not reached out to your friend that can hold your phone while you're doing this stuff. You have amazing ideas, but you just do not execute. What I want you to write down right now is what is the next thing that we can execute on in your business? What is the idea that we can move on today? Even if it doesn't work out. How do you think things work out? It's by starting them and them not working out. And do you make the tweaks and the adjustments? That's how it works. How else do you expect to win? You have to go execute. I'll be having ideas and I'll hit the team, let's execute. I had an idea for this video. Yo, let's set up the cameras. Let's shoot it. Let's execute. What are you gonna talk about? We'll figure that out. When are we gonna release it? I don't know. How you want it to look? I don't know. Let's just start setting stuff up. What colors do you need? Armani came up with these colors that you see right now. But if I had to like map it out perfectly, we'd have never started. Just do it. I hope y'all like this. And if y'all don't like this video, it doesn't get a lot of views, I'm gonna do something else. Eventually, something hits. Eventually, somebody put that in the chat. It sounds so simple, but I think I just gave you a bar that will change your life. Eventually, something hits. If you throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, something sticks. So even as a content creator, we are looking to make the most perfect piece of content. We want to make the most perfect reel. Now, I'm not saying don't get better. I'm not saying don't improve, but we spend weeks trying to come up with the perfect video and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do what you thought it was going to do. But what if you're just doing 3 a day? You're just dropping 3 a day. What I found out is we drop 3 a day on all these different platforms, and every now and again, one hits, goes crazy. And typically the one that goes crazy isn't one that I'd have picked that was going to go crazy. But the more you put out, the more you can look at it and adjust it. You just execute. That's the difference between entrepreneurs and employees. Entrepreneurs are willing to let the execution provide the data. The execution provides the data. Somebody's just employee-minded. They're just, okay, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I know after this, you give me a lot of chance to some time after I hire to learn, and I just do it by the book. Listen, y'all, the execution provides all of the lessons that we need. We don't have to read a whole manual. Life has become a manual. Listen, family, if it's taking you 6 months to perfect the logo and the website and the business cards, and come up with the plan, you are doing it wrong. Stop waiting. Nobody's coming to do this work for you. Let's execute. Guess what? When you launch your product, when you just execute and it doesn't work out the way you think it's gonna work out, or you fall flat on your face, guess what? Most people won't even see it. Most people don't even care. Most people won't even know that you failed. Most people won't even know that you did the thing until you tell the story of how it didn't work out. You're in your head. We think that when we launch a product or we do a episode or we do something, that the whole 8 billion people world stops everything that they're doing and looks at you. Take this note. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Let's execute. Number 5, money math. Okay, this is very, very important that we pay attention to the math. And listen, I'm not about to go high level stuff. I'm talking about basic business finance, okay? And some of us that have been entrepreneurs for a long time, we still haven't really gathered what's going on here, understand it. We sell a product or sell a service and we don't feel like we're making any money. We're not making any money, but we don't know why. And we think that when we sell more, that will solve all of our problems. And it doesn't. It doesn't solve the problems. Let's just go through some definitions real quick, okay? And if you are a super high advanced entrepreneur, you probably need to pay attention because it will still remind you of some things, okay? So let's just go through revenue. What is revenue? Revenue is the screenshot that your favorite influencer posted about how much money they made. That's revenue. It's the total amount of money that your business earns from selling the products or the services, okay? This is not taking out expenses. So if you sell 100 t-shirts for $20 each, your revenue, $2,000. Easy math. 100 times 20, $2,000, that's your revenue, that's the top line. That's what most people will tell you, their revenue numbers. And that's the flex. The revenue is the flex. Let me give you another definition. Cost. What is cost? Cost is the total amount of money that it takes you to make the revenue. So this includes materials and labor and rent and marketing and all that stuff. Like it's the cost. So if it costs $10 to make a shirt and you sell the shirt for $20 and you sell 100 shirts, your cost is $1,000. It costs you $1,000 to make $2,000. This is some of the most important information you'll ever hear from any entrepreneurial guru. You need to know the cost. We don't really know our true costs like that. What else goes into costs? Okay, well, if you have to drive back and forth to your office, gas is a cost. Your car is a cost to make the money. So we don't, you know what we don't calculate? We don't calculate that Zoom account. How much is Zoom? $20 a month? $10 a month? Something like, we don't calculate that because we're not looking at that. But we have Zoom and we got high level, which is $100 or $200. We have the light bill. We have all these different costs. You got a little VA. You need to sit down and outline every single cost that you have in your business. You put that furniture for your office on a credit card and you did not pay that credit card off. And that credit card accumulates interest every single month. That adds to the cost of you running this business. That's why you got to be careful taking everybody to lunch. Stop doing all these lunch meetings. Let's just meet. Let's go to a bookstore. We ain't got to go to lunch. Why? Because if I'm calling the meeting, I may feel pressure to pay for it. That's a cost. And it's eating into the next definition that we're going over, which is profit. This is important, y'all. Like, we die in business because we haven't calculated the cost. Y'all, real quick, man. I go through this every now and again where I got all these systems set up and I kind of forget about them and they just accumulate. So I just went over that, bro. I just went through all of my costs maybe like 3 months ago, and I was able to eliminate like $5,000 in costs that just hit. The stuff just hits. I have a storage unit, $1,000 a month, and we don't even go into the storage unit. I sold all the stuff. And I wanted to hold on to, it's funny, I was talking to my wife and she was like, yo, you gonna throw away all those charger plates? Because we have an event area. You gonna throw away all those charger plates and those nice little forks and stuff we got? I said, baby, how much did it cost us to buy the stuff? She's like, yo, a couple $100 we had to spend on that. I said, when's the last time we used it? She said, well, a few months ago, but you never know when an event's coming up. I said, instead of spending $1,000 a month on the storage, we'll just buy some more when we need them. The carrying costs, $1,000 to keep this stuff that I just have in storage. Listen, I'd rather, instead of paying $1,000 a month for 4 months, which is $4,000, anything I need in there, I'll just go buy it. I'll buy it again and I'll throw it in the trash. We need to understand the cost. I just went through this, family. Now let's go into profit. What is profit? It's what's left after you subtract the costs from your revenue. Okay. Profit is what makes the difference between success and failure. Profit. Again, your favorite influencer that posted, yo, I made $100,000. Well, my question would be profit. Do you know that there are online marketers that will make $1 million? They'll make $1 million online, but they spent $1 million on ads. They spent $1 million on influencer posts. It's not profitable. And I'm not saying not being profitable is a bad thing, because Uber, not profitable for a very long time. Airbnb, not profitable for a very long time. These big companies, WeWork, I don't think they were ever profitable, right? It's just, but you need to know it as this starting off. What is my profit? Revenue. I made $5,000 this month. If it cost me $4,000, my profit is $1,000. That is the number we need to grow. How can I go from $1,000 to $1,500 or $2,000 in profit? This is the bottom line. Last definition, or not last. Another definition, margin. I don't want to get too deep into margin, but margin is the percentage that shows how much profit you make from every dollar in revenue. So the example of the t-shirts. Let's say, for instance, I make $1,000 in t-shirt sales. Let's say it costs me $600. That means my profit margin is 40%. But so the formula is profit divided by revenue times 100. And then give you your profit percentage, okay? But this is helpful because you can start looking at what percentage can be increased. So let's say you're operating at 40% margins. Well, if you can go find a t-shirt manufacturer that can drop 10%, so that's huge. Let's say the t-shirt we're buying is, hold on. Let's say it costs $10 for a t-shirt and you can find it somewhere else for $9. You're saying we're saving $1 per t-shirt, so why will we bother? Well, that's a 10% margin increase. That's huge in business, especially when we start talking to investors, okay? Okay, last thing, and we'll get off because I know some of your brains are hurting in the math, but cash flow. Cash flow, simply the movement of money in and out of your business, okay? You can have positive cash flow or negative cash flow. Positive mean more money coming in than going out. Negative cash flow. Less money coming in than going out. This is something we need to pay attention to. Cash flow is important. So also, let's say, for instance, you make $10,000 in sales in a month, but if the customers haven't paid the invoice or they didn't give you the money, but your rent's due, and there's always this delay in how people pay you, you could be operating at a negative cash flow even though you're making a bunch of money. Because how the money flows in and out of your business is very important. So listen, family, the numbers are vitally important. And actually, they did a study that said 82% of small businesses fail due to poor cash flow management. That's just one of those things, okay? Let's go to number 6. We got to get into marketing. Number 6 is marketing. Take this note. Attention is currency. And if people don't know you, they can't pay you, period. So marketing goes into like storytelling and the content that you put out. You want to build a know, like, and trust factor. That is marketing. Marketing is how many people can I get this brand in front of? Maybe I do an Instagram live or something with an influencer. That is my attempt at marketing because I'm getting in front of a different audience. In marketing, consistency is huge. Take this note. Do not produce what you can't promote. This is what I tell my podcasters all the time. We're not even you think because you have a good podcast, you just upload it on Facebook and YouTube that it's just gonna go viral. No, you've gotta pull 3 clips a day and post it on every single platform. We take the 45-minute conversation, we take 3 clips or 10 clips and post them joints over a week. We take one of the clips, put it on Instagram, take that same clip, put it on TikTok, put that same clip, YouTube short, same clip on Facebook. It's vitally important. Vitally important that we market. And you say, I'm not good at marketing. Read a book. Learn, bro. Like, you need to know your messaging. What is the messaging that you're putting out and what type of frequency? How many channels are we posting on? How many avenues are we using to get our message out to the people? Okay, if someone watches this, is there a way that I'm gonna give a call to action and gather your email somehow? So if there's a link below that says, hey, give me your email. Well, another form of marketing is email marketing. You watch this, you like it, I have your email, now I'm gonna start sending you some stuff. Or you ever seen somebody say, hey, text this number to da-da-da-da. That's them marketing. I need to gather your phone number so I can keep talking to you. So in marketing, I need you to start putting a little more energy in getting the message out there. Marketing, let me give you an example. Podcast Summit, we've been having incremental growth. We had 750 the first year, 1,100 the second year, 1,500 attendees the third year. And I'm like, man, how can we make this jump to double this year? I love to double in 2026. My marketing brain says, man, why don't I just start talking to podcast distribution platforms that I can partner with? And some of these platforms got 50, 60,000 active podcasters. I'm gonna ask you to send an email to that audience, give them a discount code. Maybe I'll give you some sort of percentage to market to your audience. And now if I have all these different platforms that will send out an email to the audience, this is me marketing at a higher level, okay? So we have to market, all right? Number 7, branding and positioning. Branding is not just a cool logo, it's who you are at the core, what you stand for. And how people feel when they interact with you. That is your brand. There are some people that I would not let come into my house because of their brand. Listen, if you are late everywhere you go, that's a part of your brand. I know you for being late. You're always gonna be late. If I know you as underperforming, you are starting to build a brand. Every time I talk to you, you got some excuses. That's a part of your brand. So we gotta be clear that our brand needs to represent something. I take pride that my brand is consistency. I believe if you got a chance to talk to some people that know me, they would use the word consistency somewhere, but that's by design. What does your brand represent? What do you want people to say about you? I want my brand to be like, okay, we're always elevating in our content. That's what I'm always thinking of. Do I need different lights? Do I need more lights? Do I need another background? Do I need more cameras? What kind of lens would do this? What about the concept? How would my brand should say, we're not doing the same thing for the next 10 years. Let's always continue to progress. In your brand, what makes you different than everybody else? What's your reputation? How do people look at you? You're not just starting a business, you're starting a brand. And these are things that need to be taken into consideration. I had to stop going to the airport looking homeless. I just throw clothes on and be in the airport with flip-flops on. And I was like, yo, I'm building a brand. When people see me, what do I want them to say? What type of experience? Do I want them to say, oh my gosh, I saw this man in the airport. He looked, a little rough around the edges. He doesn't look successful. He doesn't look like he knows what he's talking about. So it's a part of the brand. You're not starting a business, you're starting a brand. I don't have a whole lot to, let's keep going, I don't got a lot of time to get into all of them, but let's get to it. Number 8, systems and processes. Your business needs systems. Your business also needs processes, because some people put them together as it's one word, but it's not one word. But and I'll break down systems and processes, but this is the difference between someone that's like hustling as a business and building a scalable business. Okay, what is a system? A system is a way of doing something that works the same way every time. So it's a system, it's a way of doing something that works the same way every time. Well, a process is the step-by-step checklist that makes the system run smoothly, okay? You cannot have a strong system without the documented process. So basically, systems and processes are how you stop working as hard, you start working smarter, and you start being able to scale your efforts. What do I mean? When you first start doing a business, you're doing everything by yourself. You're doing the marketing, your sales, funnels, customer service, all that kind of stuff. Well, that's essentially normal, but you don't own a business, you just own a job. The systems and processes allow your business to run without you doing every single thing. So for instance, a system is McDonald's. McDonald's has a perfect system. They make every single hamburger the same exact way. No matter what, every time, same thing, no matter who's on the shift. That's why a 15-year-old can run a multi-billion-dollar organization. McDonald's is running a billion-dollar company, trillion-dollar company probably at this point. And it's run by 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. So the system is, we create this burger the same way every single time. What's the process? Well, grill time, number of pickles, how do we wrap it? It's all written down, so anybody can do it. You have to document the process so that you can put someone in that seat. The tighter your systems become, and the cleaner your process becomes, the easier it is for you to make transitions when someone has to leave. So you gotta be careful when you're building a business off of talent. So we find somebody that's really, really good and they know all the passwords and they know how to execute and things of that nature. And what they do is not documented in a process. They're just really, really good at it. Well, if they leave, your business crashes. But if you know, I record my show every single Tuesday What we do is we take the episode every Wednesday, we pull the clips out of it, we post on these platforms this time. There's a system and a process. Well, if someone gets upset, like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. Well, we have the system and the process. It's not changing. You can find someone to put in that seat. But the cool thing is you can work yourself out of a job. So if I say, okay, I'm gonna set up the cameras and I'm gonna record every Tuesday, and then I go and I pull the clips, well, if I have the system and the process, I can say, well, who can set up this camera? Who can pull those clips? And just do exactly what I've done, which is according to the system, and it's documented in a process. This is how we do it. All right, number 9, networking and relationships is vitally important. I'm not gonna stay too long on this point, but you've heard it before. Your network is your net worth. And I truly, truly believe that. And thinking back over my career, every advance in my career, there's always been a person there that's ushered me into that advance. It's always somebody that knew somebody, or somebody that gave me a great piece of advice, or someone that introduced me to somebody, or somebody that recommended something to me. That your network is your net worth, for sure. Proximity matters. Listen, I'm asking you to get close to successful people, period. You gotta get close, you gotta be in that room, you gotta be in that environment, because it changed your whole mindset. Shouts out, I'm not gonna say his name, I don't know if it wants me to say his name, but there was a gentleman who started, he's working for another guy, and the guy was like, hey, you should, I was like, yo, I need some help in my studio. And I don't know if he want me to share. I don't know. It's Tybo. Tybo's my guy. So he started working, he was a referral. And it was so interesting. So he started coming around the studio a little more often. And my man's full-time entrepreneur, just works for himself, just commission jobs. And he had like a hourly wage, essentially. So, and I don't know, he might have been thinking about this all on his own, but I'm not taking credit for anything, but it's just like for the environment. But I started talking to him like, yo, bro, we should build a company together and start building out people's studios. He was like, yo, I would, but he's like, bro, I need an exchange of dollars for time. And I'm like, yo, it's gonna take some time and you're not gonna get paid for it like that. You just gotta work that thing. He's like, I'm cool with the entrepreneurial thing, but I'm not really interested in doing the work and not getting paid, because I understand what entrepreneurship is. But then he came back, he's like, yo, bro, I think this is gonna be something. And we started having these conversations of, you're like, yo, you could charge X amount of dollars. And maybe he wasn't thinking in that way, maybe he was. Again, this is not me taking credit, I'm just trying to make a point. I connect him with another one of my friends to build out the studio. And that friend essentially paid him what he was charging me, because I told my friend how much he charged. And he gets around, I'm a big thinker. My friend, shouts out to Neil, he's a big thinker. We just having these conversations. And I honestly believe that my boy Tybo was in the environment long enough for his brilliant brain to click and say, yo, I'm recording all these people that are talking big. And I refer him to Neo. Neo refers him to a bunch of people. I refer him to other people. And we got a lot of, his network created his wealth. And he talked to me the other day and he said, bro, the year ain't even over. He said, I made my first $100,000 because of his network and his relationships. Network isn't always something that somebody can do for you. Sometimes your network is just proximity to people who think. And the problem that maybe many of us are having right now, that you watching this may be having right now, is the proximity of people that you're around is trash. We want to get lucky by sports betting, or we want to, like this, we get lottery tickets, or our major success is, I don't know, being able to go to the club and buy a bottle. You got to get in a different environment. My network has single-handedly changed my life by being in an environment. And I don't know if you know it, 79% of small business owners, they say that having trusted partners and vendors are more important than sufficient cash flow. 79% of entrepreneurs will attribute their network as being more important than the amount of money that they make, because they go hand in hand. All right, don't just build a business. You have to build a community, a tribe around you. Here's my last point before I get to my last point. You need to have mentors, mentees, and colleagues. Mentors that are gonna give you the game and they can connect you to other high-level people. They're gonna be able to see a little further than you because maybe they've been through it and they have some game that you don't have. You need mentees because the best way to learn is to teach. And if you take the information from the mentors and you start teaching the mentees, it sticks with you. And certain level of accountability, because if you're teaching other people how to stay motivated, how to stay inspired, you will stay inspired because you can't tell them something and you not do it yourself. So you need mentors, mentees, and you also need colleagues. You need people that are in the space that are all going in the same direction so y'all can run together, all right? Last point, longevity. I'll just leave it with one word, longevity. The business world continues to change with technology and competition, market shifts. Entrepreneurs have to adapt with the changes. But if you start now and you stop and you don't start again until next year, so many things have changed that it's hard for me to really adjust to the change. You need to be in the game and stay in the game. It's so frustrating, man. People say, yo, I've been in this industry for 20 years. Just because you started 20 years ago doesn't mean you've been in the industry for 20 years. It means you started 20 years ago and you started working in the space and you took 5 years off, then you got back into it and you took another 6 years off and you talking about, I've been in. No, you haven't. Longevity and consistency. My biggest flex is I've been doing the same thing, talking to the same audience since I left my job in 2012. I built a t-shirt brand for entrepreneurs at the time when I wasn't a full-time entrepreneur, but I'm telling the people, yo, if you wear these Sleepers for Suckers t-shirts, we grind, we don't sleep, we work, we gonna get to it. I'm saying if I wear these t-shirts long enough, one day I'll be successful. So this is the messaging. I'm talking to the entrepreneur, the underdog, the one that's really gotta get this thing done, the one that wants to grind. I've been talking to that entrepreneur. This is 15 years later. 13 years later, and I'm still having the same conversation with entrepreneurs that's trying to get it out the mud. I just gave that same audience, Rico, 10 tips. I've been talking to you. I didn't start talking to multimillionaires. I didn't start talking about relationships. I didn't start talking about mental health. I don't do none of that stuff. My biggest flex is I've been talking to the same group of people for over a decade. You have to consistently improve. Are you gonna be in the game next year? Or is this just another big idea, another thing that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside and get all excited for nothing because we're not gonna move on it? I'm asking you to stay in the game long enough to figure it out. Entrepreneurship is it's about playing the game long enough to figure out how to play. I don't know how to play soccer, but if I get on the field and start kicking the ball around, I'm not gonna know what I'm doing. And nobody's gonna want me on their team, but if I show up every single day, 5 years from today, I'll be a soccer player. They'll be like, yo, you're so good. Well, you didn't see when I started and didn't stop and showed up to this field every single day for 5 years. And I was intentionally looking to grow. And I found a network, a tribe of people who could help me and give me some tips. And I understood how long it took. Then I started studying the game. You didn't see it. Most of us start and stop and start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. When are you gonna stop starting and stopping? Now is the time we take this thing seriously. We see the person that we're going to be and we go after it. Count the costs. All the things we talked about in this episode. I want you to go back and look at all 10 that we discussed. Which one is the biggest pain point? And from now to the end of the year, I want you to focus on improving that. What if over the next 10 years you focused on you spent a year mastering every single one of these points that I talked about? 10 years from today, you'll be living the life that you only would have dreamed of. Yo, thank y'all so much, family. If y'all need assistance, join the Morning Meetup. Go to themorningmeetup.com. It's the most amazing community in the world. Thank y'all for tapping in. I love y'all. Peace.